Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. I am seriously so excited to take you on a really profound journey today. We're going to dive deep, like really deep, into the mind of Carl Jung. He's the legendary pioneer of depth psychology, and we're doing this to uncover what it actually means to find your true self. We're not just talking about some basic self-awareness here. No, we're talking about a radical, ground-up transformation of how you see yourself and, honestly, how you engage with the entire world around you. So I want you to take a second and really ask yourself, is the life you're living actually yours? Just imagine waking up one day with this unsettling, gut-sinking realization that the life you've been living isn't truly your own. How much of your identity, the decisions you make, your beliefs, or even your deepest desires actually come from you? And how much of it is just, well, a script? A script that's been written by societal conditioning, external pressures, and just the heavy expectations of everyone else. It's a pretty heavy question, I know, but it's the absolute perfect starting point for the journey we're on today.
And that brings us to Jung's core thesis. It's captured beautifully in this idea. Life doesn't truly begin until you find yourself. You see, Jung didn't believe that mental well-being was just about, adjusting to society's rules and falling in line. He saw psychological growth as this massive, profound journey of becoming your most authentic self. He actually called this process individuation. The tough reality is that most people never even start this journey. They kind of just stay trapped in a version of themselves shaped by the outside world. But the people who do take this path, they end up unlocking this incredible, almost unbelievable source of personal power and freedom. Okay, let's just dive right in and peel back the very first layer. Layer 1, the mask you wear. Before we can really find ourselves, we have to understand what separates us from our true nature in the first place, right? It's kind of like a giant puzzle. From the exact moment we enter the world, this really subtle conditioning begins. At birth, we're immediately handed names, identities, and predefined roles. We literally don't choose any of them. Then, as we move into childhood, that conditioning gets a lot deeper. Think back for a second. Were you ever told to, stop being so sensitive? Or that certain emotions were just totally unacceptable? We learn so fast that expressing ourselves freely can actually result in punishment or disapproval. So by the time we hit adulthood, we've basically become masters at completely suppressing our true desires. And why? Just to fit in, keep the peace, and gain acceptance. All of that suppression over the years leads to the creation of the persona. This is the carefully constructed face or mask that we present to the world so we can function in society and be accepted. Now look, having a persona isn't inherently a bad thing. We need it to navigate relationships and just get by in the day-to-day world. But the crucial problem, and this is a big one, happens when we begin to over-identify with this persona. We actually start to believe that we are the mask, completely forgetting the much deeper, way more complex reality that's living right beneath it. Which brings us to our next stage of the journey, Layer 2, confronting your shadow. If the persona is the shiny, polished version of ourselves we proudly show the world, the shadow is everything we hide from it. It's the unconscious part of your personality that holds all your rejected fears, your unspoken desires, and your vulnerabilities. And here's the crazy thing about the human mind. Those rejected parts, they don't just vanish because we refuse to look at them. You can't just sweep them under the rug and pretend they're gone. But, and this is important, the shadow isn't all bad. It actually contains untapped hidden strengths too. Because we suppress these elements, they end up operating entirely behind the scenes. They heavily influence our thoughts, our behaviors, and our emotional reactions without us even realizing it's happening. Let me ask you this. Have you ever just intensely disliked someone, but you couldn't really explain why? Like maybe someone chewing loudly makes you irrationally furious, or a coworker's super minor habit just completely ruins your day? Well, Jung believed this is often what he called projection. Basically, we get disturbed by qualities in other people because those exact same qualities exist hidden away within our own shadow. The shadow also forces its way out into our daily lives as unexplained anxiety, self-sabotaging behaviors, and unfulfilling relationships. It's literally your unconscious mind screaming to be seen. To put that into perspective, let's ground this with a super common example, the fear of rejection. So many people go through their entire lives absolutely terrified of being judged, so they constantly seek approval and bite their tongue instead of speaking their true thoughts. But this fear, it almost always stems from childhood wounds, like a specific moment when you felt unseen or unworthy. Jung argued that this fear isn't just some fleeting emotion, it's a shadow aspect that is desperately waiting to be acknowledged. When you finally turn around, face these hidden parts, and bring the shadow out into the light, you completely strip away its power over you.
You literally stop being controlled by it. All right, now that we've confronted the shadow, we're going to transition even deeper beneath the surface. Layer 3, the hidden archetypes. Jung believed that our inner mental landscape isn't just shaped by our own personal experiences. He thought it was actually influenced by these ancient psychological blueprints shared by literally all of humanity. He called these archetypes. They're universal inherited patterns stored in the collective unconscious, which is this deeper level of the psyche shared by everyone, passed down from our ancestors. Think about the classic characters that pop up in myths, literature, and even our dreams across every single culture. The hero, the wise mentor, the innocent child. Jung realized that these aren't just fictional storytelling tropes. They're active, potent psychological forces that are battling and interacting within us every single day. These archetypes are constantly interacting inside you. On one side, you've got the hero. That's the part of you that longs for purpose, wants to grow stronger, and actively seeks to crush obstacles. But on the other side, there's the shadow, harboring self-doubt and resisting change. Have you ever known deep in your bones that you needed to step up and change your life, but fear and self-sabotage held you back? Yeah, that is a literal inner battle going on between the hero and the shadow. But remember, the goal here isn't to kill the shadow. Integrating its lessons, like finding the deep humility hidden within your self-doubt, is what actually brings true wholeness. Now, what's really interesting is Jung's concept of the anima and animus. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. These energies are not about physical gender. Jung believed that every single one of us contains both. The anima represents feminine energies, things like intuition, deep emotion, and creativity. The animus represents masculine energies like logic, structure, and discipline. When a person rejects one of these sides, say, for example, you fear emotional vulnerability because you think it's a weakness, or maybe you hesitate to be assertive, that's when inner conflict explodes. But when you can balance that emotional vulnerability with assertive discipline, you achieve this immense holistic strength. It's a real game changer. And all of this brings us to the ultimate goal of Jung's entire psychology: individuation. It's the lifelong process of becoming your whole, authentic self by integrating all aspects of your psyche: the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the known and the unknown. Finding yourself is absolutely not about constructing some shiny, brand new identity. No way. It is about uncovering, accepting, and fully embracing the totality of who you already are. Which leads us right to our final and maybe most mind-bending layer. Layer 4, the illusion of self. This layer challenges literally everything you thought you knew about your rigid day-to-day identity. Because the greatest obstacle to finding yourself isn't just fear or your childhood conditioning. It's actually hidden in the very fabric of how we perceive reality itself. Most of us live our entire lives in the ego. The ego is this fixed, small self that clings desperately to labels. It's that loud voice in your head that says, "This is who I am, and this is who I am definitely not," constantly building walls of separation between you and the rest of the world. But Jung understood that the true self isn't like that at all. The true self is a fluid, limitless, interconnected field of evolving consciousness. The suffering, the self-doubt, the fear you feel, that stems directly from the ego's tiny limitations. Your true self, however, isn't some isolated, lonely being. It carries the vast wisdom of generations and just infinite possibilities. So, the crucial point is, how do we step beyond the ego and actually do this? Well, Jung left us a pretty practical roadmap. First, you have to embrace the unknown. Leaning into life's mysteries with a sense of curiosity, that is where the real growth happens. Second, release your attachment to labels. You are so much more than your job title or your past mistakes. Third, listen to your unconscious. Pay close attention to your dreams, your gut instincts, and those weird synchronicities around you. They are literally messages trying to guide you. And fourth, surrender to the ongoing process. Finding yourself isn't a final destination where you just check a box. It's the continuous, lifelong unfolding of truth. Which leaves us with one final, lingering question to think about today. Will you continue living as just a fragment of who you truly are, bound by old fears, illusions, and those masks you were handed at birth? Or will you step forward into the discomfort of the unknown, integrate your shadow, and remember the vast, limitless being you have always been? Because as Jung said, life doesn't truly begin until you find yourself. The choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep digging deep, and I'll see you next time.